This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
But it's sweet. Doesn't that mean there's extra sugar?
Not,
Therefore, it's bad
it's
for
from
you?
natural. Well, it depends. So it's natural sources, but I think that technically what's bad, inverted commas, about potato is lectin, which your body has an adverse reaction to when processing, and that's not present in sweet potatoes. And lectin's what makes white potatoes white.
Nice.
Well,
Interesting.
I think.
Anyway,
I don't know. I
Which
don't know.
you counter by eating berries. That's all I know.
this is the most
didn't know
random
that.
thing ever to be talking about on a Wednesday night. Oh, no. Anyway, this is Party Loaded. Welcome. It is Wednesday the 22nd of November. We will talk tonight about video games and not potatoes. I don't know. Well, potatoes could
Unless
work
you
in
have
some
potato
way.
facts, then please let me know. Please correct me on my lectin theories.
We like our potatoes.
If you have some potato facts, please feel free to chip in at some point. All right, so let's talk about games and stuff. We have Jam here. We have Mimo here. I'm Luke, of course.
Hello.
Ollie is not joining us tonight because he's caught in the real-world spiral of work shenanigans, but that's cool. We're going to chat about some different games and things tonight. So, as always, let's kick off with what have we been playing? Jam, I'm going to throw to you. What's going on this week in Jamland
I smashed
land?
out some Guitar Hero.
Oh, nice.
It was great. My sister and I went to the movies, and then we were being all nostalgic, and we cracked out the Xbox 360 and our very old plastic guitars. Oh my god!
Whoa, have those things actually stood the test of time?
360. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious.
I know it's still going strong, and it was great. We had a little issue with calibrations. I hate calibrating Guitar Hero for a new TV, but we ended up on the greatest hits disc,
Okay.
and it was
Ooh.
wonderful.
Is that
We
Guitar
laughed
when there was
Hero
actually discs.
1 or 2 or 3 or how many are we up to now?
That's like roughly 7.
Oh god, okay.
We
I've really
tried
not
Guitar
kept track.
Hero 3 first, which is like our all-time fave, but couldn't get it calibrated just right. There seemed to be an issue with the video lag, so going to have to revisit that one because that's got some of my favorites.
I seem to remember a little while ago, this was after we started the podcast, you got a new guitar-related game that allowed you to play with real guitars. Whatever happened with that? What was that?
Yeah, I have to buy a real guitar still, so I've got Rocksmith.
That's the one, yeah. Okay.
I still haven't bought a guitar.
So that doesn't work with the Guitar Hero guitars or anything like that at all?
No, it's for realsies.
Ah, okay.
It's on my to-do list, like so many other games. I'm definitely going to get around to it, though, because that shit is fun.
Yeah. What was the nostalgia that actually plugged you into Guitar Hero? Like, was it related to the movie you saw, or was it just totally
Nothing
random?
specific.
No? Okay.
Well, like, my sister and I, until recently, haven't lived together in a long time, and she and I and my brother used to just play a lot. So we were hanging out on Sunday. We went to see a movie together, which, we used to do all the time when we lived together. And then we were just talking about stuff on the way back, and we got home, and she went, "Do you want to play Guitar Hero?" And I went, "I really do. I absolutely do. Let's do that." It was great.
I've never known anyone to twist your arm into playing Guitar Hero.
I know. I
pretty
know.
easy to get into
I
that.
adore it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be so devastated when my guitars break and I find it difficult to replace them.
Yeah. Did Guitar Hero ever do the full band setup with the drums and stuff as well? Or was that Rock Band exclusively? It was Guitar Hero too. Okay.
Yeah. I've got a couple of mics. The drum kit we gave away because it was rubbish and no one ever really wanted to do it. So when we get a big group together, it's usually a couple guitars and a couple of mics.
Yeah.
I think we have 3 guitars total now.
Okay.
We had 5 at one point. I don't know.
Jeez.
Don't ask me. It was ridiculous. Good times.
It's funny. I remember walking into to EB game stores around the time that Guitar Hero and Rocksmith and all those sorts of games were getting big, and the amount of floor space dedicated to those units, holy moly! There was just entire displays of just boxes of guitars. They ripped through them.
Very
It was
large
nuts.
box.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. All right, what about you, Memo? Have you been playing anything other than the group shenanigans that we've been involved in a little bit? How's your week been?
A little bit. I found myself without connection to the internet world on the weekend, so I quickly found out what games were existing on my console that didn't need internet connections to run.
I guess we should mention
And
we
I
actually
watched
raised this as a potential topic to discuss tonight. I don't know where you guys landed on this though, but the idea of playing games without internet is a kind of depressing topic. So, oh god.
I mean, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it would be useful.
It was kind of like in the old days, inverted commas, when the lights would go out and you only had candles, and so you'd suddenly discover like reading books by candlelight was super cool. And like you find all of this stuff in your house, like, oh, there's this Lego kit, blah blah blah. I even found this is so exciting. I can't believe I didn't tell you about this. I have a robot that is solar powered that I haven't built from last Christmas, and it's got so many bits to it. So I was like, do I start building that and like jump on Discord on my phone and chat to you guys and build a robot?
That's cool.
But then I decided that I did not have the brain power to power all of that happening. So I
need
instead
solar
played
power,
Ori and
not
the
brain
Blind
power.
Forest.
So. Oh no! You made it sound like it was Lego. I assumed it wasn't Lego or Meccano or anything like that.
No, I think it's like akin. It's like adjacent to those types of things, but it's not a branded thing. It was from like a Australian Geographic store Christmas thing. It's really cool.
Yes.
I just haven't built it yet. And it can
Did
go
you
in
get
lots of
very
different
far in
formations.
Ori?
I did. So I suddenly realized that I have the definitive edition, which I think has an extra area ?
Yeah, since our friend Jason completed this game and mentioned this, I've actually been tempted to go back and play it again. So, but the definitive edition this time instead of the original, which is what I played before, because apparently there's more story stuff as well. So,
yeah. So now I'm not going to have the same experience that you guys had. It's going to be different. And so I was like on Discord and chatting to Jam while she was playing Destiny and stuff. And I was like, I'm at this bit. What the crap am I supposed to do here? And I was describing it to Jam. Jam's like, I don't remember this bit at all. And we put it down to her bad memory, but maybe it was a new bit.
I honestly don't know.
possible.
But it turns out like muscle memory came back pretty quick from that other session. I played for a solid 3 hours. So I'm at a total gameplay of just under 10 hours, and I think like an hour or two of that is probably like I left it sitting on pause while I went and did something. So I think I must be pretty close to the end. The percentage is fairly misleading because obviously percentage is percentage complete and 100% is like collecting all the stuff.
Yeah. And that'll be different with the new content as well. So yeah, that's a hard indicator.
Yeah. I've got 3 of the 4 world events, but I'm led to believe that after the third one, the other ones come pretty quickly.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I think Ollie finished the game on around 8 hours. My playthrough was about 11. So given your hour of lag time or just, the idle sort of time.
It will take me longer. Yeah, it'll take me longer to do it than you guys anyway. So
yeah, but you've got additional content potentially as well. So I'm just trying to factor that into the overall. So yeah, I don't know. You might be looking at around 14 or so, maybe. I don't know. You sound like you're pretty close though. So
yeah, I'm getting there. I every time I learn a new skill, I'm like, oh god damn it, no, just let me finish the game. Stop teaching me new skills. I don't want new skills. So I just learned to climb walls. That was just pretty handy. I'm so good at that. Like when you get that stupid like hang in the air and catch things and shoot things the other way, that took me so long to get a hold of. But the climbing on walls thing, that one's so much fun. I can do that literally standing on my head. There you go.
Yep.
Now I'm at an area where I have to pick up a thing, and it means that I can like walk on hot surfaces and also like scale walls, and so all of a sudden like my controller becomes inverted depending on where I'm standing, and oh god, it's so hard. And my brain just doesn't want to do it.
I was going to say, bits like that in the game actually reminded me a lot of the Metroid games of old, which is part of the reason why I loved it so much. There's the whole hot area sort of suit thing that you get in those games too, which allow you access to those areas. They're very familiar tropes in some sections of Ori, so which is not a bad thing at all.
I keep panic dropping the orb and like dropping to my death. So
that's not good.
No,
it's not.
No good. So yeah, GTA was a thing again this week for all of us to a greater or lesser extent, and we had some fun.
We've corrupted more people.
Yeah. As
The
usually
group
happens.
is growing.
Yep.
It's the best.
Yep. So we had some solid biker club action last night with us all sort of lining up for photo shoots and everybody in the clubhouse having very serious business meetings at the club table.
Serious business.
Yeah.
With all of our fancy hats.
Yeah. And ran a few missions, and then unfortunately we all fell prey to some of the filth that still exists in that game in the form of the modders or the hackers. So people running basically cheat scripts and making life miserable for you. So there was a dude that just appeared out of nowhere, and he looked like Jesus, and normally that would get me talking, but no, I realized I couldn't shoot him. So yeah, it was just...
And everything started exploding.
Yep, pretty much. Yep. Which was not a new thing for us, because there had been occasions last night where we were running sort of missions, delivery errands and things, and literally being chased by MiG fighters in the game, like jets just screaming in with their machine guns and seeking missiles. But no,
that was cool,
this was not
though.
one of those.
So the group we had was big enough that we were able to scatter, and some were able to draw his attention and draw him away, so that our president could get the goods to the location. It was really neat. Our coordination was kind of impressive and almost deliberately cool.
If you're looking on the map at that point, it was almost like as soon as that thing appeared, it was just like this massive colony of roaches that just went scatter.
Every direction, quick, go.
Yeah.
But it was neat. We had about 7?
I think so.
Yeah, at peak time, all playing together in the same motorcycle club, zooming around on our bikes, although I don't think we all had bikes yet. One of our friends said he just purchased the game, so he was riding bitch. But it was good fun. It was great, and the missions are still entertaining for the business ventures. I haven't seen them all yet. I'm still seeing new bits and pieces pop up, which is exciting. Especially depending on how many people you have. It appears to increase the complexity, which I like. There's so much going on. Too many people talking at once. It was nuts.
I'm getting the impression that there's an entire subset of missions that opens up when you've got more than maybe 2 people. I should look up a list, actually. There's bound to be some playlists online that we can look up to actually work out what the range is. But, no, it looks pretty cool. I got super stuck on a bunker mission the other night, where similar to the one that we played last week, Jam, where we had to go and steal the tank from the military base, and you were able to cargo lift me out of there, sort of using the what's the chopper called again, the cargo bob?
Cargo bob.
Yeah. So this time I was solo, and I had the same sort of thing. There was a tank that was actually involved in some training exercises near the coast, so I had to rock up. There was a whole bunch of army dudes there. I literally just sort of plowed through them with my vehicle, hopped in the tank, and then realised that I couldn't drive it out of there without taking a whole bunch of damage. So I hopped in the cargo bob and hooked the tank, which seemed like a much better idea. Flew off with it, but when I landed it, I accidentally did a stupid and dropped the tank upside down up against a rock wall. And I couldn't for the life of me pick it up again. Yeah, the momentum is a thing in this game. When you get something wedged in a particular position or a large heavy object, you can't budget with smaller things. And actually, here's a fun fact for you, Jam. Did you know that the Insurgent sort of vehicle, which is the one that I've got, which is kind of like a tank, 6-seater sort of off-road, I guess it's like a Humvee, but not quite the same build. That thing apparently in game is actually too heavy to be lifted up by the cargo bob. You actually can't lift it. But it can lift a tank.
That's bizarre.
So, it's really weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so I tried ramming it, I tried pushing it over, I tried putting grenades underneath, and I couldn't flip the tank over, so it was a lost cause in the end. It was a little bit of a shame. Thankfully not worth any, real money, but it was a good hour or so of my time wasted at the very least. But, it's good. I think we're all sort of building up a few funds now, buying some new toys. It's been a good time, so...
next time we log in, I should have some product for us to move. Very splendid.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I love we played real life RPG games. We left the house last week, and Ollie just called down the driveway "Hey Jam, want to run some cocaine later?" And Jam's like, "Yeah, sure." And I'm like, "Guys, public street, Jesus Christ!"
No context. No context. Video games. Sorry. Video games.
We're just nerds.
That was a bit messed up.
Just nerds.
It was after midnight.
You guys want to run some drugs later?
I don't think people,
Hello,
I
fellow
don't think people would have
citizens.
looked at you sideways, though, because people that are actually running drugs would never talk like that. So that kind of puts you in the clear almost immediately. Just a
Yeah,
little
we
bit
definitely look like the fuzz.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I've been playing a fun game today, which I just picked up, because I've not had any time at all lately to get into the new South Park game, the Fractured Butthole. I picked up the next best thing, which is the mobile game that they announced around the same time as the launch got announced, and that is South Park Phone Destroyer, which is very, very funny and very, very South Park. And if you enjoy the sorts of humour in either of the two previous South Park sort of mainline games, you will enjoy the humour of this game because it's exactly the same kind of style. So, yeah, basically it is, the best way to describe it, it's a card-based game, but it's more of an RTS than anything. Because the cards, while they are kind of collectible in-game and they do represent sort of different characters and heroes you can play with, the way that it works is a little bit more like, I don't know, it's even probably a little bit more like a light MOBA, where you don't have lanes or anything like that. You don't have objectives, but you do have a bit of sort of the creep going on with sort of the enemies that are sort of coming towards you as a bit of a horde. You're dropping down characters. You're basically playing them from cards in your sort of window straight onto the field. And you're trying to protect like your main characters, almost like your king sort of piece. And you have tanks, you have assassins, which are basically your DPS. You've got ranged characters as well. And you've got different ones with different abilities. Like Cartman actually rocks up as a tank in it. And you're sort of playing cowboys and Indians to start with. So your crew is like the cowboys crew, and you're up against Stan and his Indians. And Cartman's basically the sheriff. And he has this ability that charges up during the game that you can sort of tap on when it's ready to go. It's just a cooldown, which is basically like a bullet tantrum. So he just fires his gun in all directions and has like a massive like tantrum. It's hilarious. But the way that the game approaches the whole mobile concept though is really cool. Like, the whole thing is all the kids are trying to decide what to play, and they're like, no, let's play Cowboys and Indians. No, let's play, Nazis and Jews, or, some seriously, non-political correct stuff. And they eventually settle on, oh, well, we've got this new kid, and he's, really good on phones. Let's just give him a call. And Cartman literally FaceTimes you from within the game. You have to answer it and speak to him. It's funny. It's really funny. And as you're playing, you're basically getting like, SMS texts from all the other characters, just literally shit talking you and shit talking each other. And there's this one bit where Cartman is actually like sending a group chat around to everybody. He's on your team, but he's basically like paying out on you. And then he realizes that he's included you in the group chat. And he's like, Kyle got hold of my phone. Yeah, that's it. It's like, yeah, it's funny. Oh, man. But yeah, it's good fun. It's free. And, like most of the free games of its ilk, it's got in-app purchases and all that sort of stuff. But I haven't been compelled to, check any of that stuff out yet. There seems to be a reasonable model of progression inside without having to resort to that kind of thing. It's I don't think it's anything I'd play seriously. It's just a bit of casual fun, but it's pretty easy to pick up. And, if you enjoy the South Park stuff, the humour will be right up your alley. So I'd probably recommend it at this point. It's South Park Phone Destroyer. Check it out. It's a good time. Yeah. If you're not playing 1,000,001 other mobile games, as we'll talk about later tonight. So, all right. So, what's going on news-wise this week? Should we follow on from the big story last week? Because there's been some developments.
So many developments.
All right. So, I think when, in last week's episode of Party Loaded, we talked about the whole Battlefront 2 controversy and EA basically shitting the bed and getting a whole bunch of people mad over their microtransactions and all that sort of stuff. Now, when we recorded last week's episode, there was a Reddit AMA that DICE and Battlefront reps were going to be conducting, which hadn't taken place yet. So, Jan, did you happen to see how that one went?
I visited it to discover that they'd got downvoted to oblivion, and it was so hard to find the responses from the EA customer service team, or whatever that were called.
Yeah.
That the mod had to pin links to their answers, and it sounded like it was just a big bunch of nothing. No one was very satisfied, and the rage continued.
Went pretty much as we expected, but the key that came out of the Reddit AMA was that some people did some calculations as to the length of time it would take to unlock all of the content in the game. And what was the calculation that we heard? Imogen, you might remember. It was something to do with like the time taken to watch all of the Star Wars movies plus animated series and stuff being like less than the time it took
there was
you.
a lot. It was like all of the old and new movies included, like the animated series and everything else. You still wouldn't have got all the characters or something.
You would like barely have unlocked 4 or something.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, it all came to a head about 3 hours before the launch of the game, where EA turned around and basically said, okay, we've removed all of the microtransactions from the game. For now.
Temporarily. Yeah.
Yeah,
until
temporarily.
they figure something out. They need to, like, that was the only smart move they could have done, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Otherwise, they'd be blatantly ignoring their community. Like, blatantly.
not that they weren't already, but sure. Yeah. Look, I can't think of a time that this has happened before. Like 3 hours before launch? This is kind of unprecedented. It's real bizarre. But, I mean, there's been a lot of reports this week about Disney getting pretty heavily involved in that final outcome.
They announced that they were removing it 3 hours before launch.
Yeah, well, that's true. Changes like that, they need to make some changes to the game code as well. So it's not necessarily going to be a, spur of the moment decision. They've got some leeway in that. But, like a lot of people have been sort of saying, I've read this week, people going, Disney, were worried about having their brand tarnished and all of this sort of links to gambling and, all this bad press they were getting. They had to step in last minute. I don't think that Disney was anything but complicit the entire way through, personally. They must have known what was going on. Like, this isn't something they just came to the party late in the piece and just went, oh, holy shit, didn't realize what you guys are up to. Better stop it, hey. That just...
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I think what has happened is something that we only talked about like very recently. It's like microtransactions. Like, 'cause if people are paying it, they must be happy to do it. But what happened very quickly with Battlefront 2 was this, and it's been in the background the whole time. The idea that microtransactions when you in a pay-to-win system is just like gambling is not a new concept. It just got a bigger voice. And so I don't know that Disney are complicit in saying, yes, it's definitely gambling, but they're on the same bandwagon as everybody else. Like, if I can make money this way and make a successful game this way and continue to release games this way, then we will. Until the point where it is negative for their brand, which it now is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be more interesting to see how other similar models, not just loot boxes, but pay-to-win type microtransactions or sort of roll the dice type transactions will be treated. Whether or not this is just everyone getting really upset about a particular game, or whether this is going to start to be a broader brush approach. Because the idea of loot boxes being gambling, like I said, isn't new. And there's been people who've been pushing for this to be classified as gambling in many countries for a very long time. Yeah,
no, I agree.
So,
the shade that Blizzard was throwing their way, was an interesting indicator of how other companies, feel about this kind of thing too. And Blizzard are in that field. I mean, they've got games with, loot boxes and things in them, but they were still taking the high moral ground with all of that and throwing a bit of shade that way. The other one that came up this week, which I'm just looking up now, CD Projekt Red actually got involved as well. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet that they put out, but there was a little bit of concern that was raised around the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 game, given that it was going to be like a massively sort of wide sort of game world, which, having that... games as a service model, it could actually, fit into that kind of thing. And a few people were expressing concern about, where that might actually lead and that, whether the microtransactions would be involved and that kind of stuff. Now, I can't find the individual tweet, but basically they turned around and said, no, we're here to say, categorically that there will be none of that kind of crap in Cyberpunk. We will leave the greed to others sort of thing. So I was like, wow, okay. That's another pretty serious indictment.
Big companies like that are got to be really careful about making statements like that, because that means that they're making a very definitive choice for a long time. Consumers have a long memory, and if they go back on something like that or something starts to look something similar, then that will come back and bite them, which is my concern over. I mean, it either shows that they're making a commitment at this point, like Blizzard, or elsewise, but... I mean, I think Blizzard is skating a fine line a little bit, but... Yeah,
potentially. Yeah. Speaking of skating fine lines, this has all been fun and games until some of the bigger entities have gotten involved, and it looks like there's some governments taking notice now. So one that cropped up today was a video coming out of Hawaii, and was that I actually don't know who was involved. It was some of the Hawaiian sort of ministers there, basically saying they're making a move towards banning games involving gambling sort of aspects and that sort of stuff. There's a YouTube video you can sort of Google it and look it up and have a watch of it. But it was pretty clear that they, at a government level, were not taking this sort of stuff lightly. And there was another piece that came out about Belgium. The Belgian, one of the ministers there is looking to completely ban games with microtransaction content. And this is where things start to go real sour for the rest of the companies out there that are not skating so close to that line and are doing largely the right thing, but because they've still got something in their games that approaches, loot boxes or microtransactions, they can risk getting painted with the same brush, and people who don't know any better will still want to swing the hammer at them. So I kind of look at this whole situation and go, well, EA have kind of fucked it for a lot of people by pushing it too far. This is now a big problem.
I think that's really finalistic. I think there's a lot to be said about a government banning a game because it contains gambling, and a country that wants to classify a game as containing gambling because I'm assuming that there's tax implications for that in some countries. So if they're banning them, I think, great, and they're protecting their citizens. But I always look a bit cynically upon people going, oh, wait, is this gambling?
Yeah.
Why aren't we, Also, it needs to be regulated if it is. So
absolutely.
Exactly.
The piece here, sorry, I'm just going to provide a bit of detail. The Belgium Gaming Commission announced that it's launched an investigation into whether loot boxes available for purchasing games like Overwatch and Battlefront are a form of gambling. And they've ruled that the answer is yes. And, they're
even
basically
in
looking... Yeah, they've ruled that the answer is yes, it is a form of gambling. To the level to which they then act on it is what's kind of up in the air. So I think, there's a fair bit of fear around this as to what they're going to turn around and do, because when it comes to people, people who influence this kind of policy outside of the games industry who maybe don't necessarily understand the nuanced difference between like a loot box in a Battlefront versus like a loot box in Overwatch, because the two are very, very different. In terms of how the game economy is treated, you don't want to have your favorite game that's actually doing reasonably the right thing caught up in that kind of problem. So I don't know. Yeah, I think people are right to be a little worried, but yeah.
Yeah. Also, regulation means that maybe some parents, because we all know that they're out there, will realise that these games are not appropriate for children.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the issue with Battlefront. They've got the PEGI rating on them, so they're designed for kids, especially. Absolutely.
Okay, maybe some parents, it's up to parents to deem what's suitable for their own children, but at least maybe if these sorts of things, and if classification goes beyond just whether or not it's appropriate content and what's actually contained in the games and the addictive qualities, it's a slippery slope on both sides, but there is good to more regulation on this side of things. I feel like EA was the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't feel like it's EA's fault. I feel like they came at a time when the industry and consumers were already talking about and had quite a large saturation of microtransaction talk, and then suddenly it became painfully clear. Shadow of War, whatever thing that came out, I don't know how it skated under the radar because its system is not that dissimilar.
I think it's nowhere near as bad, and it has the added benefit of, by all reports, actually having a decent game attached to it. So, whereas Battlefront, all the microtransaction controversy aside, has not been doing great in the reviews. So, yeah, I don't know. That's another conversation entirely, though, I guess, in terms of game quality. I don't know. Like, you say that, I am definitely erring on the side of fuck EA. Because even though they got caught out, I don't think that they are innocent bystanders in this at all.
No, that's not
I'm
what
not
she
saying
said.
they're innocent at all. That you didn't listen to what I said at all. I just think that they're the final instance of this that everyone's just got outraged at. I think this has been building. I think
had it happened to be another game at that point in time,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're innocent. I'm saying that, or like, I'm not saying poor EA. I'm just not jumping on the bandwagon that it's all their fault, because microtransactions of this nature have been happening for a time.
Yeah,
This isn't the first time that they've been used in a game. This is just the consumer voting with their wallets and their angry internet voices.
Well, they certainly have been making an impact, because even the sales of the Battlefront sort of units have been down about 60% from what Battlefront 1 did when it released. So that's sending some pretty clear messages, which I think, well done to the general public. They've actually made a dent in this one. So
that's what gets heard most clearly.
Vote with your wallets.
Yeah, it's a pretty remarkable story at the end of the day. But anyway, I'm sure we haven't heard the last of this one. Stuff will continue to happen, but I think probably the biggest things have occurred for now. We'll be able to start focusing on some other games soon. Speaking of other games, did you guys hear about the latest for Minecraft? Like, totally out of left field. A day or so ago, they actually announced that Minecraft is now available for a range of Windows mixed reality devices. So,
which is nuts.
I wish I had one.
I know. As soon as I read that, I was like, oh, can you actually just, make something at home? Like your old sort of, cellophane style 3D glasses? No. You actually need to have one of those, either an Oculus or a Gear VR or, one of those sort of headsets. They've got quite a few supported. So, they're supporting stuff from Samsung, Acer, Dell, HP, Lenovo. There's a whole bunch of them. So, yeah, and it is mixed reality, so there's a bunch of different ways that the game is actually going to be shown depending on which device you've got. But yeah, it's cool they've supported all that with an update. So
yeah,
and Minecraft is a great game to be playing in 3D, I think, and VR. Any of that immersion stuff, like as weird as it is to think about that with Minecraft, because it's not true to life graphics at all. I think that the way the game is built, it is actually very, very good for that kind of thing. So, I don't know. I would get kind of scared going digging underground and losing all your light, though. That would still be freaky in that kind of environment, I think. You just hearing a creeper like fizz behind you and explode in the actual game is scary enough.
That'd be hilarious. Oh my god, I want to try this.
That would be kind of nuts.
Awesome.
So are you guys keen to try some Minecraft in VR when you get the opportunity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of keen that it's more steps towards the AR, like HoloLens version of Minecraft, which I'm more keen on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in a VR, in a world where I might own a VR capable or like mixed reality capable headset, I'd be down for Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just glad that this has happened, because the HD texture, what's it called? The fancy upgrade to make everything super pretty.
I think it's just the 4K graphics pack.
That one.
Yep.
That's been delayed, so it's nice to see that it's, because other cool things are happening, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Well, if you wanted to pick up like a headset for it, this is the best time of the year to do so, because it is Technology Christmas! Hooray! So by the time you listen to this, it's already happened. But
or it's in the middle
Black
of
Friday,
Yeah.
or in the middle of happening. It's Black Friday and just before Cyber Monday. So this is a time of the year that, if you are not aware, it is linked to the American Thanksgiving. And in true world fashion, we have gone ahead and adopted this as a thing that we also do now.
What are you talking about?
Which is kind of cool.
There's no other holidays that are commercialized. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing for this one in particular is that so many people outside of America were using this holiday to purchase goods outside of it anyway. So retailers locally sort of went, okay, maybe we can sell you things. We have things that you can exchange for money. Here, how about these things? So what it means is that there's a whole bunch of stuff that's on sale, from technology and games and clothes and absolutely everything that you could buy. And I believe it's because it's the day before Thanksgiving, or
day
the day
after Thanksgiving,
and before Saturday or something. So it's a day when it was like the only thing that they did that day. It's kind of like the equivalent in Australia of the Boxing Day sales. But we also get those. We get both. Yay! It's pretty cool. I don't traditionally pick anything up because I tend to wait until our Boxing Day sales, because I tend to work on Fridays. So I don't usually have time to log in and browse and shop and everything else, but potentially on Cyber Monday, because I can do that on the Monday evening. I might look at a couple of things. What were you guys? Were you guys typically pick anything up in the Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff?
I am eyeballing getting Final Fantasy 15
Ooh, nice.
on PlayStation because I've been meaning to get that, and that's on sale. I forget how much, but it's on sale.
It's super cheap. I think it's like $30 or something, or maybe even less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about picking up The Witcher because The Witcher's been on sale on everything ever, and I can get it on PS4 pretty cheap, I think.
You're talking about the Witcher
sales.
3 complete bundle with all the DLC stuff as well? Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't have enough to play.
Yeah, I really need to get back to that game at some point. I have seen there's actually some pretty heavy discounts on Assassin's Creed Origins, so I'm tempted to pick that up. So even though it's only just come out, like it's still massively going to be on sale.
That's
apparently.
surprising.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. Yeah, but
I need
it's
like an
been
Assassin's Creed sponsor, someone who's like, this game is good and you will enjoy it.
I have been doubtful about any new Assassin's Creed games for a while, but this one has been actually getting quite a bit of buzz. So I'm tempted to pick it up and see what I think. So, and the setting, appeals to me. The whole ancient Egypt thing is pretty cool. So we'll see. Can't be any worse than
cool.
X-Men Apocalypse, surely.
Why would you?
Kind of bad. Yeah,
One
I don't know.
cool thing that appears to be connected to this is that we found out today Amazon have sent an email to select sellers, Amazon Australia this is, asking them to be ready from tomorrow to sell to select customers. So they're actually doing a test launch of Amazon Australia, which is really cool because for the longest time we had no idea when that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And suddenly it's probably tomorrow. Which is neat because, you hear amazing stories about the service in America, although I find it hard to understand how they can copy that model when Australia is so vast and barren. But it's neat. And JB Hi-Fi appear to have jumped on the wagon and today announced they're offering same-day delivery or within 3-hour delivery for select regions,
My goodness.
which is a bit too little too late if they want to compete. But it's nice. It's nice seeing some competition in the Australian marketplace. Hopefully it goes well, and it means that as consumers we have greater choice and better service. That'd be
For
so
sure.
cool. So cool.
The idea of same-day delivery was pioneered by like a clothing distributor, The Iconic, in Australia. The biggest challenge has always been, like you pointed out, Jam, is our postal system. And the vast distances. So you can't promise next day or same day delivery to business centres without having like a logistical centre in each capital city, because there is a very slim chance that you get something from Sydney to Perth in a day that would be still considered same day delivery without having, please order before 9 a.m. and you'll get it by 5 p.m. type situations. So
wouldn't it work on like an area basis though? Like you have to be within certain zones for that to be available to you. But if it is available to you,
that's
they
what I
guarantee
mean.
it?
But
Yeah.
the thing that Amazon does so well, as Jen mentioned, in America is that Amazon, that's applicable everywhere. If you're in a capital city, it's same day delivery because they have centres everywhere.
And the population is just exponentially bigger
dispersed.
per, I don't know, mile or kilometre squared, whichever you choose to use. They have over 200 million people. We have, I think, nearly the same landmass. We're pretty huge. And we've got 20-odd million people scattered
we're pushing
throughout,
20,
concentrating
26
in
or
these
something like
little bits with water.
Little blips, yeah. And at the moment, that's the way that this particular organisation that currently does it. But it took a really long time for like our postal service to find like a logistical like courier who would accept it. There's some very specific things in place to make it work. So the groundwork has been done a little bit. Which I'm assuming is what JB Hi-Fi would be working on. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's a step in the right direction. I mean, I don't ever envisage myself being lazy enough to something like the States have like Postmates where you brush your teeth and like you realize you need a new toothbrush. So you just like go to this app and say, I need a new toothbrush. And someone like picks you one up from the store and brings it to you.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to be my life ever.
Like Uber Eats, but for household items.
I could get comfortable doing that.
Jam could definitely do that. Jam could definitely do that. Or, those types of things. But Uber Eats I use. So if there's something I know that I want or I'm willing to pay a little bit more for it, or, games and things like that when they come out, I think this is kind of cool.
I think it's awesome. I wouldn't want to be a retailer in Australia in this day and age, though, like heading into this future where a lot of that sort of infrastructure is going to become redundant pretty soon. So, yeah.
You want to. Well, the thing is, it's going to become redundant because other people will provide that service for you. So they will feed into Amazon. So they might lose infrastructure and potentially jobs to companies like Amazon, but the way that it should level out is that they receive economies in their own logistics, and they get supported by someone who's a specialist in it.
Yeah.
Which is how it's worked in the States.
Yeah.
With big retailers. Small retailers, you're still going to have to buy local and everything like that, but I feel like, especially in our state, that consumer sentiment exists. I think people are pretty keen to buy local if they can, if it's convenient and the product's good. But when we're talking about like games and tech and, product that's widely and globally available, then these services are mint. Can't wait.
Certainly stuff that you don't need to see in your hands before you purchase them. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, send me a drone so I don't have to see another human being when I need something delivered.
Nice.
I'm not like that all the time, but sometimes I just want a mini SNES and I don't want to have to see another human being or walk through a shopping centre.
Nice. All right, well, if that's pretty much all the news for the week, Mimo, can I throw to you for tonight's topic? What are we talking about tonight?
You can, because we're talking about a topic that it turns out I have quite a lot of experience in. We're talking about mobile gaming. So we were trying to rack our brains for a bit of a topic for today, and mobile gaming is something that I've always sort of brought up. The problem that everybody else has with it is that Luke plays Hearthstone, and that's maybe potentially it. Jam's not a massive fan, and I'm not sure where Ollie lands on it, but I don't think he's a huge mobile gamer. So we're going to, we talked a little bit about last week about the Game Awards and some of the things that were nominated, especially in the handheld list or the mobile game list, which had created us a little bit of a shopping list of things to do. So I thought maybe if we just talk a little bit about our favorites. I have gone through my purchase list on the Apple App Store, and there is so many games that when I was trying to build my best list, that I have played a lot of crap games, guys.
No.
Turns out the habit that I have of going through Steam and finding weird and wonderful things didn't start when I started with Steam. It's been going on for a little while now. I don't know, just generally, Jam, what's your take on mobile gaming? Would you say that you're a big mobile gamer?
No.
Prolific mobile gamer? No, why not?
No.
Why do you think not?
I find that if I'm in a situation where I could be mobile gaming, I'm, more likely to be wanting to do something else. Like if I'm at home, then I want to be on my computer or my consoles when I game.
Yeah. You have a pretty comfy setup, to be fair.
When I'm out and about, I tend to not want to be looking at my phone gaming. I don't know.
That's all right. It could just not be your thing.
It doesn't really capture me. Yeah. It's just not my thing. I guess I'm just on Reddit. If I'm on my commute and my mobile's what's entertaining me, I'm finding out what the internet's up to.
Yeah. How about you, Luke? Let's say for the purposes of this discussion, we're going to exclude Hearthstone.
Okay.
Just generally.
I spend generally at least 2 hours a day mobile gaming, and that includes Hearthstone. So, in fact, that's probably 95% Hearthstone, let's be real.
I don't understand. I feel like you've got some sort of pocket dimension in your house where you've got these extra hours in the day. How you manage to have children, a full-time job, and play as many games as you do is beyond me.
Well,
vampire.
My commute at the moment to and from work is about 40 minutes-ish each way.
Oh, and you play mobile games.
Yeah, I play on the train typically, but in addition to that...
hopefully not driving.
No. I mean, my drive to the station's only 5 minutes, so I don't get time to play any games, in that time, let alone while driving.
No. And it's illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's illegal.
No. So, I typically do one of two things when I'm, on public transport. I listen to podcasts or I play mobile games, and I more often than not do both at the same time. So... yeah, but the other thing is that I have 2 young children, and every now and then you just want a 20-minute break from them. So you find a corner of the house where there are no kids and there is nobody that knows you are there, and you play a round of Hearthstone.
It's also known as the toilet.
Yes, that too. Now, I'm not going to condone that because, taking your phone into the toilet is one of the worst things you could possibly do with all the germs you could accumulate on it and all that kind of crap.
So much poop on your phone.
But I will say, all of that aside... No one's kidding anybody. People play a lot of mobile games on their phones on the toilet.
Oh, I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
I don't.
It just happens. I keep a whole
for
life
me,
for that sort of stuff anyway.
I don't play a lot. Like, I wouldn't say, like, I could say that I play X amount a week because it's really sporadic. But sometimes what will happen is that I will just have, like, a moment where I'll just sort of wake up and I just feel like I want to try something new. Like, the new part of a game, when I get to, like, learn the mechanics and I'm sort of setting things up, especially in, like a sim-based game, is kind of my favorite part. So I sort of get stuck into them and then realize that I haven't played them in a while and then delete them off my phone.
Yeah.
So there's only been one game, which Jan will talk about later, that has stayed the course and has stayed on my devices for a long time, with the exclusion of Hearthstone. But
yeah.
Yeah.
The other time that I tend to play a few mobile games as well, which is something that maybe is different to the both of you, is that when I'm actually editing the show, I get a bit of chance to play while I'm actually editing because I can just listen and I don't need to be looking at anything unless I notice like big problems. So I can usually multitask that pretty effectively.
Your ability to concentrate on two things at once is so opposite to your inability to listen to us when we're actually talking.
I can only do that when I'm concentrating on two things that don't require a huge amount of attention. So
this is why he doesn't recall what we say.
No, that's not true.
See, that confuses us because we're like, but you listen to it again. You hear us say it at least twice, possibly 3 times. Nope.
Yeah. Usually 3 or 4.
He doesn't hear it. He didn't hear it the first time, he didn't hear the second or third time.
Nope.
He has no
None
idea
of us
that
went
happened.
robots, so he doesn't give a shit.
You two are so mean to me. Anyway.
It's true. It's true. So, what being the primo mobile gamer, Luke? Let's say your top 3 or just 3.
Okay,
three that you want to mention.
My top 3 games besides Hearthstone, we'll call it. Okay, because that's we're not going to get
into
anywhere.
I prefaced this whole section is that we're just going to exclude Hearthstone for now.
Yeah,
because otherwise it's just a Hearthstone episode.
That's fair. I've talked enough about that. All right, so the one that I played recently, which really stood out to me as something different and quite special. Do you remember? Because I actually spoke about this on the show a little while back. Do you remember the Mr. Robot mobile game that I said I played? So the TV series by the same name. So Mr. Robot is a TV series that is all about basically an underground society of hackers. And it's kind of like in a slight alternate near future to us. Well, I should say near future. It probably is current timeline, actually, because they do reference Obama and Trump in the show at some point, I think. So, yeah, it's basically about this guy who the main character is... I can't actually say without giving it away, so I won't. So there's spoilers in terms of what actually motivates him and what his character's all about. But, suffice to say he's got some mental issues. But anyway, the game that they made about Mr. Robot, it's got a weird name. It's called Mr. Robot 1.51 Exfiltration, which, it's a very, computery, hackery kind of, name. But it's an alternate reality game. And the way that it plays is it basically puts you in the position of someone who has randomly found a phone belonging to one of the characters in the show. And it doesn't sort of reference directly any of the stuff from the show or any of the characters or events, but it very effectively places you in that same setting by sort of tying in sort of stuff relating to that genre and things that the characters have got going on without actually doing it like ham-fistedly, if that makes sense. So... You kind of get drawn into helping out one of the hackers doing some stuff. There's a bit of convincing and blackmailing involved. Like you're literally playing this game through text messages, and the thing is that it actually plays in real time as well. So you actually get messages at various different times of the day, not while you're sleeping or anything like that. I think it actually syncs with your local time zone, and you have cases where you might actually send a message and not get a reply back immediately. You might get a reply back in a couple of hours because something else is happening in the background that it sort of alludes to. Or you might have a conversation with someone that's like literally back and forth messages for a good 20 minutes. So you kind of don't sit down and just play this game. It's a game that happens to you over a period of time, which is really different and really unique. And the story that it crafts is totally cool. Like the decisions that you make in terms of the conversations you have really do alter the outcome of the game. Actually, it reminds me a little bit, Imogen, of some of the stuff that we did in what was that game we played about the security? Orwell, that's the one, yeah. So it reminded me a little bit of Orwell in terms of some of the conversational stuff that you have in there, like the way that you actually play out that narrative depends quite a bit on the information that you will actually give the person on the other side of that conversation, and what questions you ask and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it was just a really weird game. I loved it because it was so different. I'd never played anything like it before. So I don't think you necessarily need to be a fan of the show to enjoy it, but it probably would help to kind of get the feel for what's going on. But I would really highly recommend it. I think it's a game you could probably play through a couple of times just to see how it plays out differently as well. And I don't recall it being very expensive at all. So Mr. Robot's Exfiltration. Yeah, that's one to check out. Did you want me to go through other two, or are we going to round table it?
Yep, but maybe not in as much detail.
Yeah, sorry. That one's it's one that requires a little bit of explanation. It's a weird one. Yeah. All right, so the other one that I would mention, and this isn't really one game, it's kind of like a series, but they're all very similar, is the Go series of games. So not Pokemon Go, that's a whole other thing. But what I'm talking about is Lara Croft Go, Deus Ex Go, Hitman Go. Those sorts of games are very, very similar. They're all from the same developer, I believe. And they're kind of like node-based puzzle games. So you've got like a character that moves around on a board. You sort of have like a fairly linear path of progression, sort of, moving from node to node. You can, backtrack and stuff as well. But there's different obstacles and things that you encounter on your path. And the sequence that you move your character determines whether you can actually bypass those obstacles. And you sort of have to, it's almost like moving around a pegboard in a way. But with sort of different environmental obstacles and stuff that goes on. So, but yeah, they're all really fun. Capture the feel of the characters reasonably well. So they're definitely worth checking out. I'd probably recommend any of them. The most recent one they did was Deus Ex, so maybe start with the most recent one because I think it's the one that's probably the best polished out of the three. So that's a good one to check out. And the other one, which is an easy win for me because it's probably one of the best mobile games I've ever played, is Monument Valley 1 and 2. So... And the thing I can say about Monument Valley, in addition to looking absolutely spectacular, it's one of the games that makes really, really good use of the fact that it's on a phone or on an iPad, because you can play it on either, in that you can sort of tilt it and get different perspectives, and the haptic it's not really haptic feedback. The touch controls are just really intuitive. Best use of touch controls I've ever seen on a mobile game, actually. I can't think of anything that does it better than Monument Valley.
Not at all haptic feedback.
No,
haptic feedback, yeah.
I wasn't thinking of haptic feedback necessarily. What I was more thinking is the on the newer phones, how it's got the multi-layer sort of pressure sensitivity when it comes to touch controls. There's a name for it, which I forget, but it seems to work reasonably well with that, where other games don't. But it's almost like a perspective puzzle, like very M.C. Escher architecture style, very abstract sort of thinking in terms of navigating around these sort of blocky structures, but look beautiful. You only have to Google screenshots of this game just to get a feel for how spectacular it looks. So
it's quite chilling. Yeah. It's quite it's good for the zoning out for a bit.
Totally.
The music's quite, yeah.
Yeah. They're puzzles that, even though they might stump you for a little bit too, you can always sort of, work your way through them just by, tapping and prodding and trying different things. So you don't tend to get frustrated for too long. Yeah. Monument Valley. Cool games. Nice. Special quick honourable mentions to Super Mario Run and Fire Emblem Heroes, which are fun games as well, but haven't captured my attention for quite as long as the others, but they're good and worth trying out too. I think Nintendo's move into the mobile space has been reasonably good so far, so we'll see what else they bring out. So, yeah.
All right, Jam. Now, you're not a big fan of mobile games, so I'm looking forward to what your ones are.
Well, there aren't a lot that capture my attention for very long at a time, but there are 3 that I really enjoyed and would recommend. The first being Mini Metro, which I adore, and I know you do too.
I love it.
It's so cute. It's like a minimalistic subway or train
simulator,
system simulator. So you get small number of shapes pop up on your little map of your city, and they represent train stations, and each different shape has corresponding passengers pop up at various stations of the same shape. So if a circle station has a little triangle next to it, it means there's a person there waiting to get to the triangle station. And you get a certain number of carriages and train lines and tunnels if there's rivers through your city.
And bridges,
to start linking these stations together. And over time, they'll get a bit busier, more stations will pop up with different shapes, or the shape might change. And it just builds in complexity until you crash and burn because there's too many people waiting at one station and you failed. It's
inevitably.
Does it literally crash and burn?
Cute.
It didn't seem like it was.
I mean, no. No, you
they
just
get angry with
the
you.
level ends.
Oh, okay.
The level ends because you failed to maintain the network.
Overcrowding.
Yeah. It's adorable. It's delightful. It's so simple in execution, but quite challenging in its complexity as time goes by. At the end of each really fast week, you get bonus bits to help you along, whether it's a new coloured line to run around your city or some carriages. And it's fun. It's just fun for, small breaks of wanting to zone out and watch these little blips just getting trained around a little map. It's cute.
Yeah, from
Very
Dinosaur Polo Club, and they were one of the showcase winners of the PAX Rising Area PAX Indie Showcase last year. So,
And it was awesome.
so good.
Another one I really enjoyed that was one of our Game of the Months was The Room 3. Because I think...
that was good.
Yeah, just the puzzle aspect of it, the way it was like a sort of a point and click, but instead you got to use, the iPad screen or iPhone screen to manipulate what you were looking at or the objects that you found. So there was.
Did you play it on phone or did you play it on iPad?
I played it on iPad.
Yeah.
And it worked really well. It was neat. It had really good graphics. It had some fantastic puzzles in it. And it worked so well on that medium. Far better than I imagine it would have worked on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
for
even
sure.
console. It just felt like such a natural fit. It was so well designed for it. Really cool, puzzle game. So if you like those, check that out. And when I went through my purchase list in my app history, the only other one that I found that I'd put quite a bit of time into that I can imagine myself going back to is Boggle.
Yay, Boggle!
Because I love word games and Boggle's it's a classic. And I've realised that that's sort of the style of game that I was playing on the plane to and from PAX, those word puzzle games where they'd shuffle and pop them up and you had to make as many words out of it in the time given as possible. So, it's always a fun. It's one of the classics that I'll never get bored of.
Yeah. It's the classics I think are really like where it's at, and I've excluded a couple from here from mine, like Words with Friends or like Scrabble versions and things, because I always tend to go back to things like that. But overwhelmingly, I have 4 on my list because it was my idea for a topic, so I get 4. And
Raisins.
Number 1 is Fallout Shelter, because it is a great example of why I like mobile games and what I love in mobile games, because it was just what I needed. I wanted to become immersed in it. Fallout Shelter was released when they announced Fallout 4 was coming out. It was like, released this day, and the internet went nuts. And it's like a little simulator where you build a little vault of people in the Fallout universe, and you can upskill them and all those types of things. And I love like simulators and that type of stuff. So it was simple enough to play on a phone, but in-depth enough that it would capture me for maybe an hour or a couple of hours and those types of things. And popular enough that I was comparing my shelters with others and all sorts of stuff. So
now, I played a
inevitably
shitload of that too, and I'm still shocked at how well it did.
I liked it. And do you know what? It's still going. There is still a lot of people playing it.
It's amazing.
There's a lot of things. It still gets updated. They've
Don't
got
get me
like,
wrong,
they
I
get,
don't
like,
dislike the
festive
game.
packs
I
and-
don't think it's bad. I'm
Yep.
just still shocked at how well it did. Like, it just,
Yeah. People have become attached to the little vault dwellers. Yeah, so that's really, really cool. I really liked Fallout Shelter, and when I was going through my list, I was like, oh yeah, Fallout Shelter, that was awesome. You Must Build a Boat is my next one, which is so hard for me to describe. It's kind of like a mix between Fallout Shelter, because you do sort of build elements on your boat not dissimilar to Fallout Shelter, but you then arrive at a location and you've got to run through a dungeon, and the way that you do that is you run and you jump over things, and then when you encounter monsters, you've got to battle them, and to battle them, you play like a matching game down the bottom. And that sort of, you know that some enemies are vulnerable to like sword damage or like physical damage. So you'll try and do as many physical attacks on them as you can, or magic attacks, or those types of things. So it had this really weird in-depth RPG element in it, and like a banging soundtrack. So that was super fun. I have still not finished building my boat because it just got super hard towards the end. And I only just recently uninstalled it, I think, from my iPad so that something else could go on there. But it was a solid game. And if you're looking for like a fun little game that you can play for like 10 minutes and then put down again, You Must Build a Boat is it. It will annoy everyone that you cohabitate with its annoying noises. But I insisted on having them on because I really enjoyed the noises. Matchland I spoke about on here is a similar game again, but you are starting little market stalls by going into the forest and killing and capturing bugs to sell to make your products and potions.
This is so weird.
It is super weird. But again, it's you encounter them and then you're basically doing like a match puzzle to do damage against them and they do damage against you. So you can choose to like spend your matching time healing or giving yourself buffs or those type of things. And it was really good. I didn't play it for quite as long. I kind of ended up deleting it because I started feeling like I was doing it every day just out of habit. So I deleted it. So I didn't continue playing it. And the last one I am going to mention, Luke sort of mentioned, is Pokemon Go. Because holy crap, that game changed the way that we use mobile phones. Everybody, when Pokemon Go was a concept, thought it was a joke initially. Everyone thought, yes, that'd be super cool. I can go out into the world and I can see real life Pokemon on the street and haha, it's so hilarious. Nobody expected that it would mean that hordes of nerds around the world would congregate at 1 a.m. in random parks in the outside world to catch things and yell things. Like there was reports like locally to where we live is Kings Park, which is a great big national park right in the smack bang in the middle of Perth pretty much. And there was Dragonite sightings ever since the game launched up there, and regularly you'd go up there and there'd be 2, 3, 4,000 people just roaming around the park. And once I remember I saw a video on the internet of someone yelling, like, there's just all these people like, whoa, look at all these people playing Pokemon Go. And in the very distance you hear Dragonite. And then other people start yelling it. And then everybody just starts surging towards the sound of this call to try and capture this one poor Dragonite. And if we ever find out that, games are just an alternate reality and these things actually exist, that would have been terrifying for that Pokemon. I love these people.
The one
it's
thing
also
that
a game that
shocked
saw
me
me...
the more than anything was that it got Jam out of the house. I mean, holy shit.
I was just about to say, for a few
solid weeks.
We went, I would be sitting in my house and we'd be like, let's go Pokemon hunting. And then I'd drive down to Point Perrin, which is like a beach 1 billion miles from where any of us live. And we'd walk around the sand dunes at 1 a.m. looking for Rapidash, which I didn't even know was a Pokemon, yelling at each other. And I remember searching with Jamie's sister, we were searching for this thing and we were just concentrating so much on the screen that we didn't realize and we nearly got swept out to sea. Because it was 1 a.m. and it was only when we got back in the car that we just kind of looked at each other and went, that's probably how people get murdered, right? Just wandering around in the bush in the middle of the night. So yeah, Pokemon Go is mobile gaming's zenith. I think if anyone else can create a game that captures the imagination of the world, and it was the whole world like Pokemon Go has, then, it still does. There's still people out there. I still regularly...
Still doing all right.
What was it? A couple of months ago, I said to you guys, does anyone know why there's a bunch of people looking at their phones, congregating in an area? And somebody said it was the new release of the raids or whatever. And
yeah.
They've got a much better content schedule now by the look of it. They've actually got events happening semi-regularly and they've added quite a few of the new Pokemon to the game and that sort of thing. I've got a question for both of you, though. Niantic have recently announced that they're releasing Harry Potter Go. Are you both going to play that?
Holy shit, really?
Did you not know about that?
You didn't know, Jam?
I did not know this!
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm excited because I know that there's a lot of people that I know that are big Harry Potter fans. I'm not a huge... I enjoy Harry Potter, but I'm not a huge fan. But I think it's going to be a big game.
I know what question Jan's going to ask.
Do you wave your phone around
okay, maybe not.
As a wand? Because I see many phones dying, if that's the case.
Yeah. I feel like it's a Marauder map type situation.
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll use the same network, though, for sure.
You might have to, draw a thing for the spell on your screen to... oh, my God. Yeah, I'll definitely play that for a, hot minute.
Yeah. And
that sounds really cool.
And I get a feeling like you're going to get to choose what house you are, Jam, and you're going to be capturing areas for your house.
Jam.
So that's going to split
Jam
your family right down the middle.
For sure.
No, mate.
Jam's Gryffindor.
Jesus, I'm 100% Gryffindor. I have been sorted by the Sorting Hat. Okay. I am a Gryffindor.
Okay, interesting.
Also, my Patronus is a beagle.
I've never taken the Sorting Hat test. Maybe I should do that after this.
Go on to Pottermore. And, yeah.
What do you
Mia?
think I am? And we'll talk
I
about
would
it
have.
next
I would have
week.
said Gryffindor for you.
Said what?
I would have said Gryffindor for Mimo for sure.
Gryffindor. Aren't they like the do-gooders?
Not really do-gooders. They're the sort of
Stand
courageous
up for
sort of.
stuff and stuff.
What's the one? What's Luna Lovegood from? I want to be in her gang.
I think she's a Ravenclaw.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's Ravenclaw. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be Ravenclaw. That's what I want to be.
Yeah, I think you could be a really good Ravenclaw.
Yeah. I really got to read the
Slytherin.
books. I got to read the books.
Slytherin.
No, I came out as Ravenclaw when I did it. So.
I don't want to be
See, I
Ravenclaw
think it's
anymore,
wrong.
Jam.
I
Undisclosed
think
reasons.
Ollie is without a doubt a Slytherin. I mean, he looks half like Voldemort anyway.
He might be Voldemort. It's true. All right. So, okay. We got way off track, guys. We're talking about Harry Potter and what houses we're in. Okay. This is what happens when Mimo runs a topic. So there's a couple of things here. I guess there's a lot that's coming out. I mean, we mentioned the ones that are coming out from the Game Awards. Hidden Folk is one that I keep seeing now, and I'm going to have to pick it up. I'm going to have to give it a go. I think Jam will really like it because it's one of the like searching for things, and you tend to like that. What are you looking forward to, Jam? There's one that we already spoke about that you saw at PAX, which I for sure think you might get obsessed with.
Spin rhythm, music rhythm game where you like got a little DJ wheel on the screen that you twist to the beat. Yeah, it's meant to be out mid next year. I am super dead keen. Oh my god.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
Spoke about it a couple episodes ago. I'm going to keep my eye on that one. Also, those two that we saw from Annapurna.
Yeah, Gorogoa and Florence, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they look amazing. So I'm also keeping my eyes out for those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I think any discussion about mobile games, we would be absolutely doing an injustice if we didn't mention one of the coolest mobile games that we have played that was actually developed locally. And also because V will absolutely slay me if I don't mention it. So everybody who has not checked it out should play Freedom Fall. If you're into really cool sort of platformers that play pretty well on mobiles as well as a whole bunch of other devices, I actually played it on mobile when it first launched, and I had a hugely awesome time with it. So that was
I didn't know it was available on mobile.
Oh, really?
Just now. So now I'm going to have to check it out. I thought I just auto-assumed it was console or PC.
I think it was actually my playing game for the trip back at the first PAX. So first PAX Oz.
Didn't know you then.
It's been out for a little while now. But yeah, no, it is awesome. It's a down-scrolling platformer, very sort of whimsical sort of, I guess, knights and princesses and castles kind of imagery.
It's cool because you're escaping the princess.
Yeah, it is.
At the top of the castle. You're like, no, bitch, and you're like fleeing
why didn't you lead
down.
with that? I'd play that game. Play the shit out of that game.
It's a reverse Rapunzel tale.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
You should check it out. It's seriously cool. Like, I think if I'm being fair to date, it's probably still my favorite game that Stirfire Studios have put out because it's just so awesome and the art is incredible. So yeah, everyone should check it out. It is really good.
Well, that's it. That's a whole show. Mm-hmm. Sort of. Sans Ollie. So hopefully Ollie will be back next week. Return to the world of the podcasts. Mm-hmm. You can find us on Twitter or on Facebook at Party Loaded Show. On YouTube at youtube.com/channel endgame, isn't it?
That's
I do it every time. Channel endgame. But if you search for Party Loaded, you'll find us anyway.
Yeah, you will.
Or you can send us an email through the electronic mail system at mail@partyloaded.com. My goodness, Imogen, out of practice.
Just use the Googles. The Googles have it.
You're doing good.
Everybody does it anyway. I could write this down for someone or hand them a business card. They're still going to Google it. So, but yeah, keep an eye out on the stuff. And also, if there's any weird and wonderful games that I'm not playing that everyone's obsessed with, like, please let me know. I've already played so many. Like, I've played the Clash of Clans and I've played the Candy Crush and all of that. So none of your regular crap. Give me something weird and wonderful. I found out that Sushi Go is available to purchase on your phone, so you can play multiplayer Sushi Go without actually having the game. So I think I might buy that.
That sounds pretty cool.
Very awesome.
I know a game that you might want to check out in the very near future. It's got like a whole bunch of what are these creatures called, like kobolds, and they are in catacombs, and you get to do like runs through dungeons and stuff. Oh, wait, that's Hearthstone. Okay, never mind. That's a good time. Yeah, cool. So, I wanted to ask both of you just before we wrap up tonight. We're heading towards sort of the very end of the year and some of our discussions about sort of 2017 in gaming as a whole. Is there anything left on your to-do list that you want to smash out before we start having those chats? Like, what's on your sort of checklist to go? Like,
so many.
If you had to prioritize,
I'm not gonna make it.
what's number one on your list?
Okay, What Remains of Edith Finch is probably one that if I don't complete, I'll be, injured by Memo.
It's true.
Slightly
and
injured.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
And Horizon Zero. Damn it. Okay, so there's maybe 12 on my list.
I think I'm going to play Edith Finch this week because apparently it's only about 3 or 4 hours, so I can easily smash that out, I think.
Yeah, I did it in an evening and I took my time doing it as well. It is good if you've got the time for it to poodle around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think I need to, if I was just not going to do this week, but what I need to finish off this kind of year, obviously is Ori, duh, and Persona 5. Persona 5 and Last of Us are the big ones that I want to finish.
Oh, do Last of Us. Persona's a huge investment.
I
well
know,
worth it.
But Last of Us really isn't my type of game. Like, I want to play it I almost want to watch somebody else play the game. Because I don't like the
That could be
scary
arranged.
zombie shooty things. So
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Like, I don't think it's the kind of game you can really just watch a whole bunch of YouTube content on and get it. You kind of have to experience it. But
Yeah, definitely. It's special. It's very special.
It is. But also don't force yourself if you're not enjoying it. Like, just pace it and do it right because it's a game that you should enjoy. So
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I kept thinking when I was like, what do I play, Ori or do I play Last of Us when I didn't have anything else to play on the weekend? And I chose Ori, so I don't know. We'll see.
That's cool. All right, well, I'm going to go play some games before I go to bed tonight. I might get a couple of rounds of Hearthstone in, not going to lie.
Nice. I'm going to do my Pottermore quiz and find out what Harry Potter house I'm in.
Yay!
Nice.
I'm crossing all my fingers.
Not Harry Potter house. What is it called?
Hogwarts House.
Yep.
Hogwarts House. Thank you.
Yeah.
That one.
If you want to be in a Harry
love
Potter
that.
house, you'll be living under the stairs.
You can also have your one selected, but I can't remember what mine was.
Oh,
There were too many details.
Interesting.
nice.
All right. Well, that's your homework. You need to report back next week and give us all the deets on.
You too, Luke.
Yeah. Well, mine was definitely Ravenclaw. I don't know about the wand though. I'll have to go and check that. So.
What's your Patronus?
Oh yeah, I'll check that too. Yeah.
Mine's a beagle.
All right.
A little fluffy beagle.
Well, everybody, stay tuned for the thrilling conclusion of this tale, and we will see you again next week. Until then, ta-ta.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.